to Corporate Cafecito, a podcast based on professional development, career growth, and respecting our cultural identity. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Corporate Cafecito. Yo soy Nayeli Suarez Gas. Today, we have a major announcement. For those of you who have been following us, we've been broadcasting, or I don't know if you call it broadcasting, but we've been doing this for about 2 years. And one of our early guests was Carlos Butler Vale. And I'll tell you what, when I met Carlos, I was drawn to him immediately for his calm demeanor, for your warmth, your expertise. Like, you are just so brilliant and such a good representation of our people.
Thank you.
Carlos is joining Corporate Cafecito as an official co-host.
I am so excited, Nayeli. And honestly, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it has
Yeah,
been.
it has been that long, yeah.
It's so interesting because being on a podcast was such a lifelong dream of mine ever since I was an adult. Kidding. And but it was always so cool. And then when you invited me to come in and be a part of it, I was on such a high. It was such a cool thing. And you and I have talked quite a bit about like how to make something like this happen and just how do we spread the wealth of knowledge and information that we have. And I can't believe that I actually ended up approaching you and that you were so cool with it. So I'm really excited about this. And I've gone through and looked back at a lot of the content that you have, and it's such a wealth of knowledge, and just want to do what I can to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, it's great. And so, Carlos, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but I also know that, like, you need to talk about all the work you've done for our community. Start with your role at the university.
Okay, fantastic. Well, so it's interesting. I grew up in Elgin, Illinois. So a little bit of history and background there. I grew up in Elgin, Illinois. I was born in Puerto Rico and came when I was about 7. And mostly stayed in that area, but then I had the opportunity to move to Washington, D.C. to study at George Washington University. And when I came back, I wanted to do something different, and so I ended up working for what is now Roosevelt University, previously Robert Morris University, and it was so fulfilling. I had the opportunity to work with so many predominantly minority students who wanted to go to school in an urban environment. And it was a commuter campus. And so the majority of our students actually worked and supported their families and were going to school, which obviously I think created a whole set of challenges and opportunities. Totally. Yeah. And so it was... What I really loved about being at the university was that it was the first place that was starting to really think about where could we ensure that we're putting folks that look like the students in front of them so that they can have common experiences, a sort of shared cultural background. And that really was where I think a lot of my love for DE&I started to kind of transform and really take shape. I did a lot of different roles while I was there. I was there for about 8 years, and then the last part of what I did was actually work with organizations to get our students internships. And At that point, it was a challenge. I'm going to be very honest with you, because most universities were recruiting from the same sort of Ivy League schools.
100%. I remember when I was at Frito-Lay, we made the joke that you had to go to the University of Virginia to be able to get into marketing.
Yeah, and the reality was we weren't always getting those people in those positions that looked like the consumers that they either had or they were wanting to, or in fact needing to go after. And so I felt like most of my job was to try to explain to these companies why it would be beneficial to get these students who were tried, true, tested. A lot of the work that we did was around experiential learning. And so we didn't want you to learn about budgeting when you got to work. We wanted you to learn about budgeting when you were
in school.
In a safe place where you could learn that. And so at the end, I said, we've made some really great progress, but where can I be a bigger part of the solution? And that was actually being on the inside, meaning supporting and leading diversity recruitment programs. And so from there on, I started doing that in the tech space, did some really awesome work. And then, I'm never one to stay still for too long. And so I ended up going into McDonald's and leading global DE&I there, which was a whole nother case study in and of itself, just amazing. And then last but not least, was with Constellation Brands and, having the opportunity to work for such iconic Hispanic, Latinx, brands like Corona, Modelo, Pacifico and Victoria was amazing. And so I feel like a lot of it has come full circle. And now, as you know, I've decided to go solo and really start to help folks along that journey of how to leverage their culture and engagement strategy as a growth driver. And so that's where we are.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me about your family.
A little bit about my family. So I'm married to my husband, Brian. He and I have been together almost 10 years. Yes. Next year will be our 10th year, and we've been married for 6. And we have a lovely, lovely daughter named Sophia who just turned 3. I'm surrounded by Scorpios.
Oh, I'm a Scorpio.
Oh. Okay, so this all
That's
makes
how you love
sense.
me.
Yeah. It all makes sense. So, both November birthdays. Are you a November birthday?
November 10th.
November 11th.
Oh.
Wait, no. November 10th.
What?
Yeah, 1110. That's amazing. Okay, so I did not know that you and
That's so
my daughter
crazy.
shared birthdays. Okay, so that's actually that's freaky. But yeah, so November 10th and November 21st. And so I'm surrounded by Scorpios, and honestly, it just keeps me on my toes. And we live in the burbs. We used to live actually all over the city, but our last place in the city was right on the border of Logan and Humboldt.
Okay.
And as a Puerto Rican, it was, again, another full circle moment to kind of be in that space. When we were kids, we used to come to the city and talk about the big Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah.
And it was like such a moment for us because outside of Puerto Rico, you didn't really see a lot of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was the place where we would come and eat like Puerto Rican food.
Yep.
Alcapurrias and, all the deliciousness, pastelillos. And so like now, so to be there and to be a part of that and to even, one of the things you talked about is community. La Casa Norte was actually in the process of being built and they were moving, and that was a big passion project of mine while I was there. And so, but we outgrew our space and we decided that we were going to give the suburbs a try in the middle of COVID. I know.
As most people did.
Yes.
That moved out of the city.
Yes.
Well, Carlos, I am so happy you're here.
Thank you. I am happy.
You guys are going to see so much of Carlos because
Thank you.
now, it is just going to be even more fuller, more robust. So join me in welcoming Carlos, and we look forward to sharing many topics with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I can't wait.
I love it.